welcome to Video Games Revisited. Today we're going to be playing Moon Patrol on the Atari 2600, which is a port of the arcade game by Irem, licensed for distribution in the US and Europe by Williams. Other than the 2600 port, there's also notable ports on the Atari 800, 5200, ColecoVision, Commodore 64, and plenty of others. So as you can see, the graphics are pretty good. There's going to be a lot going on screen, and the music kicks ass. In Moon Patrol, you play a moon buggy driver with no real clear story. All that you're told is that you have to drive as quickly as possible across the surface of the moon. You'll have to deal with UFOs, tanks, boulders, craters and mines. You start on course 1 and it's split up into 5 different sections, all filled with a variety of obstacles as we just discussed. The great part about the gameplay is everything's thrown at you at once. It makes a real hectic experience. You have UFOs flying above you, tanks on the floor, also the boulders and craters could appear at any moment from the right hand side of the screen. Thankfully you shoot in 2 directions at the same time, both up and forwards, as well as having the ability to jump and shoot at the same time, which is always a pet peeve of mine when you can't. Whilst this makes for some fast, intense gaming, the big problem is as the game progresses you get a little bit too much thrown at you on the bottom of the screen, as strings of craters and boulders appear as you progress, which wouldn't be a problem if your jumps were easier to control, but for whatever reason you've been given some really long jumps, and all too often you end up plowing into an obstacle that was barely in view once you first jumped, and it becomes pretty unfair and infuriating when you start losing lives for something that there was no way you could have preempted. You couple this with the fact that occasionally a UFO will be able to blow up a fresh crater right in front of you, and you'll find yourself throwing 4-letter words at the TV more often than you should do. The thing I find really interesting about Moon Patrol is it's almost like a fusion of genres. While you have your side-scrolling action game with the very minimal platforming and shooting going on the ground, you also have to keep an eye on what's going up above, which gives you an experience similar to a vertical shooter like Galaga. So as you can see, Moon Patrol's a great example of an early side-scrolling action game and can really test your skills to the limit at times, especially if you get onto course 2 or if you're brave enough to set the difficulty to hard so you automatically start on course 2. It gets pretty crazy. But that's about it for now. Take care and I hope to see you next time.